We're from Bitch Please.
Welcome back to another episode. This is episode 14.
14.
We're in this thing. We're almost at 20, girl. This is exciting.
So excited. So excited. We're dancing for y'all who are listening.
Oh, yeah. For y'all that are listening, you can't see us hitting our awesome moves.
Awesome dance
great.
moves. Because
You guys don't know, in our previous lives before we started doing what we were doing, we were choreographies professionally.
100%.
We've choreographed for Beyonce and
in our previous life, because Beyonce was in our previous life. Sorry, I had to just touch on that flaw real quick.
I said in our previous, before our current job.
You know what I was. Okay.
Yeah.
Before our current. Yes.
Yeah, we were choreographers for Beyonce.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So come check us out in our dance moves. Yes. Breakdown. That's gonna be our new start every time. A dance breakdown. A little choreographed routine.
Girl,
say less. Anyways, so we're gonna get started the way we normally do. Deidre.
Yeah.
How your screws is, girl?
My screws are great, girl.
Yes.
So my dad's in town visiting. Actually, he just left, and it was great. It was good to see my dad. I haven't seen him in, I think, 2 years, because the last time I think I saw him was for my grandmother's funeral, so I haven't seen my dad in like a year. But I got to see him, and everything was cool, and it was just nice to see him and hang out and have conversations and all that good stuff.
Yes.
And so I had the days off, which was great because I've been fucking exhausted. But it's been really nice. It's been really, really nice.
So tired.
How are your screws?
They're actually pretty good. They're not bad. A little stressed.
Yeah.
But not bad. It's just work's been fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And it's been nonstop. And of course around the holidays it's even worse.
And we're short-staffed.
Yes, and we're short staffed. We are very short staffed.
We're short-staffed.
And underpaid. So, everybody's very upset. All the time. It's just
It's just what it is.
It just is what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, my screws have been great, which is so funny because like I was going through our last episode, and I know our last episode, I said something like, we go through those 4-week time frames, and I said, I bet our next episode we're both going to be like, our screws are great.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm actually not doing too bad.
Yeah, sure enough, they're great. They're wonderful.
That PMS and them hormones, bitch, fuck me up.
Every single time.
Everything looks so great, and now I'm just like, life's actually not that bad.
Yeah. I feel great about things.
Yeah.
So.
I'm not mad about it.
Yeah, me either.
The workers are there. Everybody's there. We're just a little tired.
Yeah, just a little tired. We're going to do what we can do. And that's going to be that on that on that.
Exactly. So speaking of work, our topic today is just kind of talking about like our jobs, not in depth and not in detail, obviously, but just kind of like how we got there, what we did to get there, and then just kind of being women in the workforce and like what that's like for us, what we've had to experience, being ethnic women and specifically being a black woman. So, those are just kind of some of the things that we're talking about today.
Yes. So how did you like start? So when you were growing up, what did you want to be?
I told everybody I wanted to be an explorer. That's what I wanted. I wanted to go around the entire world and I wanted to take photos of animals. That was what I wanted to do. I said that from the time I was a kid until probably, I don't know, maybe like 13 because I started doing drugs and nothing else really mattered. But I really wanted to do that. I told everybody I wanted to be an explorer. I wanted to go visit new places. I wanted to, mainly I wanted to go to Africa.
Okay.
That is where I wanted to go. And I wanted to take photos and be in National Geographic. That was my goal as a kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah, that's what I wanted.
That's dope.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Because you don't really hear kids say, like, I just want to be an explorer and take pictures. You don't ever really hear that.
Yeah.
Normally it's like, I want to be a police officer. I want to be a firefighter. I want to be a doctor or whatever. You don't really
hear that.
Hear other options like that. That's really cool.
National Geographic's was like my favorite as a kid.
I love that.
Yeah.
That is so cute.
I was a little nerdy kid.
Oh.
I was a little nerdy kid. What about you? What did you want to be?
Girl, for the longest time, which is so funny, I thought I was going to be in the WNBA.
I believe that.
I was like, I'm going to go into the WNBA. I'm going to play basketball for my entire life. That's all I'm going to do. I remember at one of the high schools I went to, a lot of people used to call me Miss WNBA.
Why? Because you would talk about it all the time?
All the time, and because I play basketball and I was always wearing like just whatever, and I would always talk about that I was going to be in the WNBA, and I was like, that's so funny because what?
Yeah.
I wasn't like, I was good, but I wasn't like that good. Like,
Yeah.
I was good, but not to do all that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I did. I was like, I'm gonna play basketball for my entire life. I'm gonna go to college and I'm gonna play basketball.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this and this and that. And then I was like, girl, first of all, no.
You probably could have.
I was not going to be able to do that.
You probably could have.
I mean, I probably could have. If
I was going to say, I know you well enough to know.
Yeah, if I would have stuck with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That you like to minimize your strengths and what you're good at sometimes.
I do that. I do that sometimes.
And so when you like, it probably wasn't that. I'm like, she was probably really fucking good and didn't even realize it.
I mean, I was okay. Like, I was decent.
Yeah.
Like, I was contributing.
Yeah.
And, I did really well. But I was a great defender. Great defender. But, I just, as I got older, I was like, girl, you are not going to be able to maintain this. Like,
that's a lot.
It is a lot. It is a lot. I was going to go play basketball in college, and then I was going to go to a school just to play basketball.
Yeah.
I went to a different school, and then I was like, I'm going to join the basketball team.
Yeah.
And then I was like, girl, you about to be playing basketball and trying to do biology? There were some girls that did it, and kudos to them because they killed it.
Yeah.
That was not my story.
Yeah.
I struggled.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I'm not playing nobody's sport.
Understandable.
So, yeah.
Understandable. Okay.
Yeah.
I could picture it, though.
Yeah,
Little basketball star.
Might have been getting paid more. Just barely. They don't really pay that great.
Girl, you'd be making more than what we're making now. Let's just be real.
That's true.
Let's just be real. So how did it go from wanting to be in the WNBA and then to where you are now? Like, what was that transition look like for you?
So I was always into science, always really big into science, and I had a chemistry class or something like that, and I was just like super into it, and I was like, this is so cool, and I really like the sciences, and now I want to do something in the sciences. I didn't know what exactly I was going to do, but I wanted to do something in the sciences.
Yeah.
And so when I graduated from high school, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go get this degree in biology. I knew immediately, I'm going to get this degree in biology, and then I'm going to do something with it.
Yeah.
And around that time, like CS Science, actually, I think this was before any of that even existed, I was like, I want to do something like in forensics.
Yeah.
I don't know what everything's called, but I want to do forensics.
Yeah.
And that's where it stopped.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what everything was. I didn't know what I could do, how to do it. I just knew I was going to get this degree in biology and I was going to work in forensics and I would figure it out.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it started for me.
I love that.
How about you?
Mine was a whole roller coaster. When I got sober, I was working at a university and I was working in their career development department. So I was helping like graduates and like kids who were graduating and stuff like that. And at the time, I had started going to school to become a vet. So I was getting my degree in biology. And I was like, that was my main goal. I wanted to be a vet, right? So in my head, because I'm preaching to these kids, right? And like these graduates, like, you know, you have to get into the field and like see if you even like it and see if you even want to do these things and intern at different places. You know, and I'm preaching to these kids and I'm over here putting all my eggs in one basket, but I've never actually worked in the field. So I managed to wiggle my way into becoming a vet tech within like maybe 2-3 years. Became a vet tech, did that for a little while. And as I was doing it, because we were doing a lot of our own in-house labs and we were doing a lot of like cytology and stuff like that there. And not cytology, but more, cytology. And we were doing a lot of that and you know, having to like fecal samples and like look under the microscope and see if there's any parasites and then identify what type of parasites it is. So we were doing a lot of that. And then I was like, I actually really like doing this. And I was still in biology. And then I started assisting and helping with the necropsies. Okay. Which is basically autopsies of animals. And then I was like, I like anatomy a lot. I was also assisting in surgeries too. But I was like, I like anatomy a lot. And I was like, but I don't want to be in the vet field. Yeah. Because being a vet tech, harsh. Yeah. Extremely depressing.
Oh, really?
Extremely depressing. Actually, being a vet it's the number one occupation for the highest suicide rate.
Really?
Yes.
I had no idea.
We used to have to, like, my boss would actually, like, the vets that I worked for, we would have conversations about it to make sure everybody's mental health was good because it's extremely sad.
That's really dope that they took the time to make sure you guys were good mentally.
Yeah, they were really good.
A lot of jobs don't do that.
Yeah, they were really good. But we would get like, you know, suicide awareness and stuff like that.
That's
and
dope.
Like, all sorts of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, all sorts of stuff because it was a lot. I mean, vets kill themselves quite often.
Really?
Yes, yes. And you don't make that much money unless you actually conform. Anyways, it's a whole thing. You either are, one of those big commercial vets making a bunch of money, or you're a little mom and pop and you're not making that much.
Okay.
School costs the same exact as med school, though.
Okay. Wow.
It's the exact same.
So, okay. So it's kind of like with MEs where even though they're doctors, they don't get the same pay as the other doctors.
Exactly.
Which is crazy to me. Not to go off on this tangent, but it's crazy to me that they don't pay MEs like they pay like family medicine or internal medicine doctors.
Exactly.
Because these are the doctors of everything.
Everything.
They have to know everything.
They do.
And so to not pay them that way is very interesting because they're not in it is a specialized field, but it is they don't have the one concentration on like general medicine or this is not like I'm trying to think of a orthopedist.
Yeah,
like,
it's not special. It's not
specialized in that way.
It's not specialized in that way. Yeah,
it's specialized because it's a niche field, but it's not specialized in that. They have to know all of the things,
everything,
and what so and how
on top of the extra of like anthropology, and then on top of that of like post-mortem and like and forensics.
It's crazy. It's
and the judicial system and all sorts of shit,
and to be able to go testify
exactly
and be able to present yourself in that way, which is interesting in itself. That anyway, I won't go into that,
it's wild. And for those that don't know, ME stands for medical examiner.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I just
no, that's okay. That's okay. It's something that we're accustomed to saying, but I thought about it and I was like, it stands for medical examiner. But yeah, so I was doing that for a little while, and then when I did the necropsies, I was like, I'm not going to be able to stay in this field. And I was like, I love true crime. I've always loved true crime.
Same.
And so I got an internship while I was finishing up my undergrad. I had switched my major because I was like, I'm going to go be a doctor. I was like, maybe plastic surgery. I don't know. I was like, I want to do something that specializes, but I'm going to make buku bucks. This was all about money. Which is still all about money. But, yeah, so I switched my major. So I got a degree in biomedical sciences and with an undergrad in biology because I didn't have credits for it. And, so I got an internship at one of the medical examiner's offices.
Okay.
And I went in and I stopped and I was like, that's a dead person. And I was like, all right, this is cool. I'm for this.
Yeah.
Watched them do an autopsy. In love.
Yeah.
Obsessed.
Yeah.
I was like, this is the best.
Yeah.
I was like, what is that? What is this? I'm pretty sure I know the fuck out of them.
Yeah.
And then since then, I was like, I got a job at the hospital doing autopsies there. And after graduating, and it was like, then I weaseled my way into where I'm at now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting because I know when I finally did decide like this is what actually I still hadn't decided by the time I graduated college. I knew a bit more, so I was like, I'm gonna do forensics in some way, whether it's like a CSI or something like that. That's what I thought I wanted to do, or I wanted to work in a lab or like a forensics lab, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna do that. Yeah. And then when I went back home, I worked. Actually, I didn't even work. I volunteered at with the police department out there, and they allowed you to work in different sectors of the police department. So sometimes you would be in the main building, but then they also had a forensics lab, and I was like, y'all gotta let me do the forensics lab. I want to see the forensics lab. Like I really want to do this. And I was there, and I was like, this isn't for me. Yeah. This forensics lab thing. Boring
as shit.
And oddly enough, I had an ex whose mom was close with they have a coroner system in there. Yeah. So some places have coroner systems, some places have medical examiner offices. It really just depends on where you're at, and I guess like what you serve and all that.
Yeah, and some of those medical examiners offices are county based and some of them are private. So it definitely it's pretty murky. It's not like you just go here and then that's it. Yeah, there's a lot of different stuff.
So they have a coroner system. So well, they did have a coroner system. I don't know if they still do, but at the time they did. And she was like, "Oh, I know the coroner at down there. You know, I'll call him and see if we can get you to get in, and maybe you can go visit, and then maybe you can get like an internship." Well, I was out of school. I had been out of school. Yeah. So I was like, "Okay, cool." So she sets it up. They're like, "You can come in." So I go in, and I see a range of cases that day. I mean, like a range from small people to old people. Yeah. Like you just all over the place. And I was like, "This is it. This is what I want to do. Yeah. This is what I'm going to do." And they didn't have enough funding to do a internship, a contract, or nothing like that. So that stopped there.
Oh.
So I was like, okay, crap, that sucks, but all right. So I was still volunteering with the forensics lab, and then at some point I was like, you know what? They offered me a job, which was so crazy because at that point I had decided I was coming out here.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, I appreciate you guys offering me the job, but I'm actually moving next week. So,
yeah.
you know, I'm not going to be able to take the job. And they understood, and they were like, you know, no, go do your thing. Like, it should be great. And then I get out here. Mind you, throughout the years of me, from me being out of school to me moving out here,
yeah.
I had gone to different states to try to test for different jobs. So I had tested for in Omaha for a job. I was out here. I went back to Vegas and drove to Cali to test for a job out there, a crime job out there.
Yeah.
And it wasn't working out.
Yeah.
I got back, I came out here and I stayed and I was like, all right, I'm going to try to get in. And I kept applying and I went to one of the offices out here and I spoke with the chief there.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, you won't get hired here. You don't have any experience. Like we don't have any internship. She's like, you're not in school, so you can't really do an internship.
Yeah.
Because I had been out of school for a minute at that point. I say a minute. It had been a couple of years. But she's like, you're not in school, so you can't get an internship. You don't have this qualification, so you can't take this type of job. She's like, it's going to be really hard, but here's some other offices that may have something available to you.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, cool. And I called around and everybody's like, sorry, no, sorry, no, sorry about, and I'm like, okay. That was it. Because I started working at my other job, which had nothing to do with biology. Well, it kind of did in a sense, but I was handling short-term disability claims and FMLA claims.
Yeah.
So I did that for 5 years.
Yeah.
And finally, my uncle met my supervisor our supervisor at a hospital.
Yeah.
Because he used to work at the hospital.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, my niece has been trying to get into this, da 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 da. And she was like, have her give me a call. We can see if we can set something up for a contract position.
Yeah.
And that's
how
that worked out. But it took me, I graduated from college in 2013 technically.
Yeah.
Kind of 2012, but 2013 technically.
Yeah.
But I didn't get into what I wanted to do until 2018.
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
That's wild. I mean, I had to bust my fucking ass to get in. I was volunteering at the hospital. I was doing an internship. I was working full time. That's a 40-hour week. And on top of that, I was fucking going to school full time to finish up.
Yeah.
So I literally slept 4 hours for like a whole semester.
Yeah. It's crazy to think about how hard you go to get into the field, and then you finally get there and you're like, okay, I'm here. Now what? Like,
nothing.
Yeah, you're like, now what's next? And you're like, oh, this is kind of it.
This is it. So once you become a forensic autopsy technician, there's no movement.
Depending on...
That's all you are.
Actually, I can't even say depending on where you're at. I think that is kind of it.
That's kind of it. You reach that, and that's what you are.
I mean, and if you can go back to school, and you can do all those things, and you can become a medical examiner, and you can go that route. But as far as like a tech part, that's pretty much where it stops.
That's pretty much it.
Which is... It's fine. Like if it's something that you love, which I know we both love the work that we
love
do.
Love
so
our
if
work.
it's something that you love to do, it ends up working out, but you don't have that like ability to advance in any way.
No. There's like always options for like maybe a lead tech position or even a supervisor role, but that's like few and far in between because you have to think about it like one medical examiner's office might represent 6 counties. Right. You know what I mean? And another one might represent another 6 counties. So it's like, it's not like each county has their own office. Yeah. So, and then there's funding involved in all sorts of stuff. So.
So it gets tricky with all of that.
It does.
But it's just very interesting we've worked very hard, both of us, to
busted our ass to get here.
I just want to commend the both of us for not quitting on ourselves because
like
you had to work super hard. I also had to work super hard, and I was told no a lot. Yeah. And then to still continue to keep striving for it, and then eventually get in is really dope.
Yeah.
So
I love that for us.
Be proud of ourselves for
Hell
that.
Yeah, we really should. Yeah. I will never forget that year was wild for me. I really had to bust my fucking ass. I was doing so much all at once, and then when I got into the hospital, I was told I would be able to go into the morgue. But then, actually, one of my best friends, I helped him get hired too. Like, we applied at the same time. Yeah. And I was volunteering there, and I was like, you should hire him. And then he got hired, and he had like no experience.
Oh, okay, okay.
Didn't even have the internship. I had that internship under my belt, and they put him in the morgue.
Oh, okay, okay.
I fought them on it, and I was like, we should split. Like, and because he was like, this isn't like really, I like doing it, but it's like not really my thing.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you guys told me I would be there. I want to be put in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I pushed, and I did, and then I got in there. All it took me was to go in one time and meet the doctor, and she loves me.
Yeah, I think that's dope. No, I think that's dope.
So.
Yeah, I know with when I did get hired as a contract, I was working another job.
Yeah.
And so
Same.
I was like, I can't work. I just can't do only contract. Like I have to work my other job because, especially back then, contract was I think 12.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I gotta have this other job. So what I would do is, I would go there in the morning time, from a couple of hours, and then I would leave to go to my other job, and I'd be there damn near all night.
Yeah.
And then I would go home and I would just repeat. But I only went a couple times a week because that's all they would allow at my other job.
Yeah.
And you know, when you're starting out and you're learning how to do something, being there a couple times a week is extremely hard.
Yeah.
Because you don't necessarily forget things, but you also don't get comfortable enough to have like a consistency on how you should function and how you should move.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
So it made it a little bit tricky, but I was catching on pretty fast. But yeah, I mean, after that, it just...
Yeah.
I got hired full time, I think a couple months after.
Yeah.
And been there ever since. I hit my 5-year mark. I got my little pin and my damn certificate. I was so excited about it. I couldn't wait.
That's a lot of sarcasm. I just need all of you guys to understand, because those who are listening cannot see Deidre's face, and it's full of sarcasm.
I was really excited.
I was there when she got it, and I side-eye her.
It was just the way, anyway. But yeah. So I got my 5-year thing. So that's been I've made it 5 years. Which,
yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's definitely one of those fields that you don't move in, you know. It's very stagnant. Like, that is just what you are. You are a forensic autopsy technician. That's what you do. And like, the job is amazing. I absolutely love my job.
Same.
It is physically taxing.
Mentally taxing.
Mentally, physically, emotionally taxing.
Yeah.
It is a lot to deal with on occasion, because you don't just have, you know, your standard.
You don't have always adult people. You have children.
Exactly.
You have people from birth to death. You have all types.
You have all ages.
You don't know what
you have violent deaths.
You have violent deaths.
You have all sorts of stuff that you get, and crazy shit that you can see.
Yep.
And some weeks you have, you know, you're maybe doing like 1, maybe 2 autopsies a day. And then other weeks you're doing 3 autopsies and having to do, you know, an external, which is an external is where you don't actually have to do a full autopsy. You pull toxicology from the person. And some days you are short-staffed, which is like most of the time for us. And it's a lot. It's a lot to deal with and take in. And that's just for our location. That's not to say that that's how it is, you know, nationwide or worldwide.
Right.
But that is just for how our location is. But it's definitely one of those, you are just a forensic autopsy technician.
Yeah.
It's just where you are.
Yeah.
And even some places don't even allow you to actually do the autopsy.
That's
like Deidre and I.
Yeah, I was about to say.
We do the whole autopsy. We, you know... For those who do not want to hear this or get squeamish, please jump maybe like another 30 seconds to a minute. But we will actually cut open the bodies and pull all of the organs out, and we will do pull all of the tox, and we do the fingerprinting, and we do the paperwork, and we check to make sure that the photos,
the x-rays,
the CT scans, we do all of it. We do all of that. Yes, we do all of that. So it is a lot.
Yeah.
It is a lot. And it is definitely a field that is tough to get into. When you're into it, that's what you have. Now, talking about what has it been like for you, not just as a woman, but as a Black woman, getting into this field, and then since you've been in this field.
So I'm going to go back a little, quite a bit.
Yeah.
When I was in college, I had a professor ask me what I wanted to do for a career. And by this point, I had like decided. And he flat out told me I would never get into it. Mm-hmm. He was like, you'll never get into that field looking like you do. And I was like, I'm not sure how to take that. I didn't know how to take that because I was like, that's an odd thing to say.
Take it as racism. That's what that was.
No, this is a African professor. He's a doctor.
Oh, okay.
Because I went to
that's right.
I went to HBCU. Not that we had. I mean, I had a white professor. My chemistry professor was white.
It's just immediately when I hear that, I think like they're talking about. Okay.
And so I think he just thought because of how I am and how I, especially back in college, he was like, "There's no way you're gonna get into that field. You just don't have it to do that." And I was just like, "That's an interesting thing to say."
That is interesting.
So that.
Okay.
Okay. So we're starting there.
Okay.
Getting into the field and letting people and like talking to different people because we have a pretty mixed office. I feel like it's very, yeah. Mostly, I feel. Now, I'll say now it's probably more mixed than it was.
Yeah.
It was interesting. You get comments like, kind of like, "Oh, did you go to school to do this?" And you're like, I mean, I couldn't work here if I didn't.
Obviously.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, it's
obviously.
just, I'm not really sure. Are you asking me if I can read?
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of how I felt.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I did go to school for this. And it's like, oh, okay, I didn't know, like, you did that. And I'm like, well, okay, fine. Yeah. I understand. You get some interesting comments being... I feel like in any field in general, you get a lot of comments, and being a black woman and especially sciences, I feel like it's extremely tough.
Oh, for sure.
Because you constantly are getting that kind of like, there's no way that's what you do. You have, you see all the time, you have black women doctors, and they're like, "Oh, are you the nurse?" And it's like, I can't be the doctor.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So you get comments like that where you're just kind of like, I mean, I worked just as hard as anybody else to get here.
Yeah.
Or, "Oh, this must be like an affirmative action type of thing." You're just kind of like, no, like, no. I busted my ass, like, to get
be here.
Yeah. And I feel like I've proven myself that I can do this work. But I say all this to say, when I first started, there's comments that are made. There's and they were racial.
Mm-hmm.
There's things that are said out loud that probably shouldn't be said out loud.
Yes.
Especially in regards to tattoos. So we had a situation when I first got hired. We had some wild situations when I first got hired. And honestly, it's a miracle I stayed. Yeah. Because one of them was real bad. Yeah. And I can't really talk too much about that one. But the situation I can talk about, we had a decedent that had a bunch of tattoos. Yeah. Black guy, a bunch of tattoos. And one of his tattoos had the N-word, big as fuck. And this doctor decided that he should read it out loud because he was just reading
what?
The tattoo.
You lying.
I'm dead ass serious.
Who did that?
I just looked, and I was standing there because it was my case, and I just looked at him like, and he's like, "What? I was just reading it. I'm new, so I can't go off." Yeah. But because I'm new. Yeah. And I just stood there like,
that's fucking wild. I would have lost my shit. Fire me.
But I already knew I was the only, whatchamacallit was in the front, but it was just two of us. It was myself and another black lady, and she was in administration. Yeah. So I was just like, this is the start that I'm getting. It's been like 2 months. Yeah. And I'm like,
wow. So he read it out loud.
He read it out loud.
That's crazy. Did you report him?
I did not. I didn't. I should have. There were other people around, and other people were like, "Hey," and what? I was just reading, but I didn't say anything because I was very new. Yeah, I was one of like 2 black people in the entire office, I think, at the time, and so I just shut up. Yeah, but I looked at him like he was fucking crazy because I'm like, "Bro, are you kidding me?" Yeah. I haven't been here long enough for you to be trying me like this. Yeah. I've already been asked if I know how to fucking read. Yeah. Like, you really about to try me on this too? Yeah. Like, and I had just had a situation the day before that was wild, and I was just like, yo, the comments are endless. Yeah. And it's like, it's not even realized sometimes about the comments that are being made. I mean, even from random conversations to me talking about my family. Yeah. And being asked like, "Oh, I didn't know you had a dad." Yeah.
Why would I not? It's just,
I couldn't get here without one. Yeah. Like, I needed somebody's sperm. Like,
yeah,
you know.
Facts.
So
it was not immaculate conception.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
It's really odd because it's like it has nothing to do with the work, but then you just have different personalities and different conversations that happen because you have people that are maybe not used to being around other people.
Let's talk about that for a second. Okay, let's talk about that. Sorry, we're going to pivot. Can we pivot? Can we pivot? Let's talk about that for a second. You have to also remember that you are working with doctors.
Yeah.
And doctors, especially in this field, can be very weird.
Yeah.
They don't have very good bedside manner. And they can say outlandish things sometimes.
Yeah.
Like when I had a hand put in my face.
Yeah.
And people don't realize, or when you have a scalpel, and a blade and a whole cutting knife tossed at you and being demanded for shit to happen. So
or tables run over your feet.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to fight so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I wanted to fight so bad.
Mm-hmm. So, you have to remember too in this field, it's like you are working with people who do not have great social skills sometimes. Also, I don't know if you've experienced this, but just in the medical field in general, since working at the hospital, I have had issues with men.
Have you?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the issues that I've had with men have not been in the way that maybe you're referring to.
In all sorts of ways. Aggression, yelled at, harassment, all sorts of shit.
I've had some interesting comments, but they were more like racially motivated than anything. I've had some people try to raise their voice and realize that I wasn't for the shit, and they pretty quickly was like, oh, my bad. But I haven't had too much. Because I feel like the group that we work with specifically is pretty good.
Yeah.
As far as like tech wise, because we had more guys and now we just don't.
Yeah.
Some of the doctors are a little bit wild, and especially when I had started, they were a little bit wild.
Yeah.
But
a lot of the doctors are still pretty wild.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I haven't really experienced that too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my experience has been, I've been yelled at. I've had hands put in my face. I've had men make sexual advances, trying to corner me. I've had all sorts of shit happen. This is not to say don't get into the medical field. This is just to say that I feel like a lot of men that I have interacted with, not all of them obviously, but a lot of men that I've interacted with in medical field in general, have been very aggressive. I'll never forget, I never had this happen to me before. I mean, one of the doctors that I worked for, he was a pretty short-tempered dude. So he would yell at me all the time, but then I got to a point where I'm fucking yelling back at you. And then we'd just spatting like an old married couple. We just yelling at each other. So, but when I was working at the hospital, there was this one coworker that I worked with, and he was fucking up all the time and blaming me constantly. And I was trying to take it to management, and management wouldn't do anything about it. They just wouldn't. And I finally got to the point where he was hoarding these specimens on his desk. You have to understand, I was in the path lab, and we were processing these specimens. These are people who possibly have cancer, who are waiting to see if they have cancer. And he was hoarding these specimens because another lab wasn't labeling them properly. So he was trying to prove a point to another lab, but that's hindering
these people's results.
That's hindering patient results.
Oh my gosh.
Patient care. So I brought it to my boss, and I told her, and I let her know this has been on his desk for 4 weeks now. So that's an additional 4 weeks. That's also a specimen sitting in formalin for 4 weeks. So you don't know how that's corroding the actual diagnosis.
And that's more time that the patient is not able to get care if need be.
Exactly. That's my point. So I went and I told her, this is just a quick, sorry, it's a little bit, I'm going to tell you, but this is just kind of like the epitome of my experience. And so I tell her what happens, right? And she goes, well, show me what you're talking about. So I bring it back and I show her, and then she brings him along with her. And so he comes, whatever, and I go and I sit in my chair, and I'm like, this is what I'm talking about. These are the same specimens that have been sitting on his desk for the last however long. There were several. There wasn't 1 or 2. There was like a good 15.
That's crazy.
So he decided to get loud and start yelling at me in my face. I'm sitting in my chair. He's leaning over me. He's got his finger in my face, and he's screaming at me in front of the entire lab. Mm-hmm. In front of my manager. Do you know what my manager did?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. This was the first time I ever took something to HR. And I took it to HR, and the HR woman was amazing.
That's
Loved her. But nothing came of it. You know what, though? He's promoted now.
Of course he is.
He's supervisor of the lab.
Of course he is.
Yeah. Of a section. Let me rephrase that. Section of the lab. But he's still a supervisor.
I'm not surprised by that. Sorry, I got shiny. I'm not surprised by that at all. Because it's like anytime that you want to complain about somebody, it's like, well, did you try? No, I didn't try.
No.
They shouldn't make this comment. They shouldn't do shit like that. Like, I shouldn't have to go say anything to anybody except let you know what the fuck is going on and you go handle that shit.
My manager actually defended him. Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yep.
That's crazy.
And occasionally I still work at the hospital and he stays trying to talk to me and be friendly to me and I'm like, we ain't like that. Mm-hmm. And I just look at him. I'm like, blink, 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 blink. What do you think I'm trying to say to you? I don't care about your life or your kids or what's going on. I don't care. Don't talk to me.
That's it's just unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of like what I have a hard time with sometimes in just the field in general.
Yeah.
Because it's like you'll get comments or you'll get things said to you, and if you take it to somebody, it's like, well, maybe you can do this or maybe you can do that.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you don't take care of this, I am either going to, I'm going to do two things. I will say something to them and it will not be kind.
Yeah.
Because I've already told you about it and you decided to do nothing about it.
Exactly.
But after that, I will also have to go somewhere else to take it because y'all got me fucked up.
Exactly.
And so, I mean, I have had situations where somebody kept saying something that was, again, racially motivated, as it typically is when it comes to me.
Yeah.
And I was just like, can you guys handle it or no? And it's like, well, maybe, this is this. Always excuses. Well, they're like this. Oh, well, they're like that.
Always.
And it's like, okay, cool. So why is it I gotta check myself?
Yeah.
I can't just be like that. I gotta check myself. I gotta be of some type of something. Yeah. Because y'all don't want me acting out.
Because if you act out, then you're the angry black woman.
Which I was. Well, your tone is this and your tone is that. Yeah. And I was like, no, my problem is I am being disrespected and y'all don't care.
Exactly.
And so now I have to take it into my own hands and say what I need to say to this person. There's no reason I should have to say anything to this person because y'all should have handled it.
Exactly.
There's no reason that I should have to go tell this whole doctor about themselves.
Yep.
In the most professional way possible.
Yeah.
For them to go, oh, I didn't realize I was doing that.
Yeah.
And then the thing that made me so mad about that situation in particular was the fact that there was other people around, even though I tried to be quiet about it, but everybody was like kind of in the mix.
Yeah.
And to hear later on, well, I'm really proud of you for doing that. Good for you for saying anything. And it's like, no, not good for me. I shouldn't have to.
You shouldn't have to do it in the first place. It should be handled by the supervisor because that's what you get paid for.
I complained. But I did notice that when we got other doctors in the office and other people had problems to complain about, the situation got handled. They were talked to.
Is it because those other doctors
were
black? Yeah. Yep. Notice that.
They got talked to. I said, how is it a problem now?
Yeah.
But when I complained, I needed to take care of it.
Yeah.
But when they complain, y'all are right on it.
Exactly.
That's interesting.
Not just right on it, but then actively pursuing to try to find issues with that particular doctor. But yet this other doctor has been there and can just be and say whatever the fuck they want to say.
And continues to do so. But I gotta watch my tone.
Yeah, so it's like, I feel like, especially just as women in general, we are looked at like we're stupid. Especially by male doctors.
But it makes me so mad because the people that are typically the ones that we have to go to are also women.
Yeah. Yes. I know, it's like women fighting women and the thing. It's like, it's almost like you're labeled as being dramatic. And I'm like, no, this is an issue.
Yeah.
That's why when that whole thing happened, when the doctor put his hand in my face and did that, I did my due diligence. I went and talked to, the supervisor and let them know what was going on. But I also said, I don't trust that anything's going to come of it and that anything's going to be fixed. So I'm letting you know now. I'm telling you that the next time it happens, I'm popping off. I'm not going to be nice and I'm not working a case with that person. Just know that. Not happening.
I've said what I've said.
I've said what I said. You've been warned.
Yeah.
But you want to know what I suggest for anybody who's in any sort of office, anything like that, who's just working in general.
Yeah.
Emails.
Emails are the best thing.
CYA, cover your ass.
Absolutely.
Email. Always send an email letting them know this is what it is. Da, 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 da. Don't do shit in person.
Yeah.
No matter how cool you think you are with that person or your supervisor, your manager, or whatever, never do just shit in person. Always send an email.
Always send an email.
Because you want to know what happens with emails? Things get moved.
Yeah.
Stuff gets changed.
Yeah, because it's a paper trail.
Uh-huh. And it shows.
Yeah, it does show. And CC whoever you need to CC.
CC all the people. Yo, I was petty. With that whole issue at the hospital. Petty. I CC'd everybody all the way to the top. I CC'd all the people, including the woman from HR. I CC'd the president. I CC'd everybody. I was like, somebody's going to know. Everybody's going to know that this is what happened to me. And this was my experience here. And then nothing was done.
I mean, I had the job that I had before this, everybody had been like, this is what's going on, this is the problem, and they just kept harping on us, well, you need to do more, and I was like, these are the things that are an issue. And I went to my direct supervisor, she didn't want to do nothing. I went to the supervisor above her, she didn't want to do anything, and I was like, you know what, I'm really, really tired of trying to talk to y'all. I have tried to talk to y'all.
Yeah.
And so right before I got ready to leave, after explaining to these people time and time again, you guys are going to continue to lose people. This is going to be a problem. Y'all are going to have a bigger issue on your hands that you are not ready for. And nobody wanted to listen. So before I left, I sent an email to the highest boss. I CC'd my boss. I CC'd the other boss. And I found out much later that the boss above my boss felt some type of way that I did that. And I was like, I tried to tell you.
Yeah.
I tried to ask for your help. I tried to get the situation resolved, and nobody wanted to hear me out.
No.
It's not my problem anymore, because you know what? I no longer work here.
Yeah.
But this is what I've been trying to tell you. Y'all need to make some changes. And then shit hit the fan after everybody left, and it was just kind of like,
we told you. Yeah, it was like when I left the hospital, I sent an email to all of the managers, because you have to have an exit interview and like blah, 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 blah. And they sent me like the exit interview was just kind of like a questionnaire. And I answered. And they said, what's your reason for leaving? I said, this particular manager, this one, named it. I do not like the way they work. I do not like what they're doing. I do not like how they handled my situation that was reported to HR. I don't like how it was dismissed. I don't like how nothing's changed. I listed that. I was like, I'm not trying to come back here to you, so I'm going to tell you everything about yourself.
Facts.
And I said, if you continue on this path, you're going to lose a bunch of people and blah, blah, blah. What happened? I left 6 months later. They gave everybody a raise and decided to change things around because people were leaving left and right.
yeah,
But they also promoted the motherfucker.
that's crazy.
Honestly, if you have a dick in this world, it don't matter. You just better than me. You are. It don't matter. You just better than me. Like, it's just that's how the world perceives us as women, that we are stupid.
Yeah.
That we don't know. And the thing is like, it doesn't matter, like, it doesn't matter how progressive you think you are.
Yeah.
You still look down on women because
still lingers
society
Yeah.
makes you look down on us like we're stupid, especially black women.
Yeah. And it's such a weird thing for me, because I look around our current job and it's majority women.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting to me that even with the small percentage of men, that there's still a little bit of that there. Not a little bit of it. It's still a lot of that there, where you're just like, y'all wouldn't be able to do shit without all these bitches in here.
Yeah.
Like, honestly.
Facts.
It would just be 3 people, 4
Yeah.
people. Like, there's not I mean, investigations got more people than that, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Majority women.
Yes.
So it's very interesting that even occurs, but it does. It occurs in many workplaces. All over the place. And it's disheartening, because it's like, we can do these things. We are able-bodied people that are able to do these things just like anybody else. Sometimes even better, if you want to be real about it.
Let's talk about that. Yeah.
If you want to be real about it, but you know.
Yeah.
It's just the where they think, and it's really unfortunate, because you know, times have changed, but they also have not.
They have not.
They've changed in a lot of ways, but the mindset is somewhat the same.
I don't think it's changed. I think it just looks different.
It looks different. Maybe that's probably the better thing.
It's not.
I mean, the fact that we are working in itself, it's changed.
Yeah.
The fact that I'm able to work with you, it's changed.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't have been able to work either, hell.
That's what I'm saying. I was like,
you wouldn't even been able to
I would
work.
have been cleaning.
Yeah, you would have been.
The only work I would have done has been cleaning. Coming in and just taking out your trash.
That's
like,
facts.
let's be real.
That's facts.
Let's be real.
But, yeah, I mean, it's just, it is different.
Yeah.
So.
It is. It's a lot. I mean, it is different in that way, but I think also just, I don't know, the demeanor towards women is just, it's very much the same. We're not, you know, and I think also for some doctors, you're looked at like an assistant.
Oh, absolutely. Which is crazy because they actually have assistants, and we're not it.
I had to correct a doctor the other day.
I've had to do that multiple times.
But I did it in front of a bunch of people.
I did as well.
Yep. And I looked at that person dead in the face and I said, I am not your assistant. I'm a forensic autopsy technician. I did not go to school and bust my ass to get here to be called your assistant.
I literally had the same situation with the same doctor, and was like, I am not your assistant, and I actually said the name of her assistant back to her.
Yeah.
And she looked at me, and the people that were there were all just kind of looking at each other, and I was like, do you need anything else?
Yeah.
Because no, I'm not doing this anymore. I have tried to be kind. I have tried to let stuff just kind of slide.
Yeah.
I really have.
Yeah.
I am tired of being talked to crazy.
Tired.
I am tired of having to watch my tone and watch my mouth when I can just have anybody say any old thing.
Yeah.
And I have to hear, well, that's just how they are. That's cool. This is how I am.
Yeah.
Y'all gonna have to deal with it.
Exactly.
If it's
and
a
that's
problem,
about,
then it's a problem. But it need to be a problem for everybody.
and that's,
And if it's not, then it's going to be a problem
Facts.
for everybody.
Facts. And that's kind of the point where I'm at, where I just don't have a filter anymore.
Me either.
I don't have if I see something going on and I'm like, that's not fair to my team and what my team is going through, I'm going to be like I said the other day, I said, oh, hell no, really loud, because I was like, that's wild. But yeah, I'm just like, I'm not. And then it also is then, you know, to kind of pivot to something else, then you have women competing with women in this field. And it's like, no, we should be there supporting each other. Not dog eats dog kind of world. Right. Now, you know, now that I'm here in this position, you're beneath me.
Yeah.
It's like, no, like we should all be, you know, uplifting and supporting each other, because primarily it is women in this field. Believe it or not, it is primarily women that are doing this hard ass work. Men could not. I'm just going to say this because I have no filter. I don't think most men have the capability and the mental capacity to handle what we handle. We, as women, I feel like a lot of us are very good at compartmentalizing our emotions and are very good at being able to regulate that because, one, we're deemed by society continuously that we are dramatic, that we are emotional, that we are so emotional we can't even run a country. We can't stand in office. It has to be a man. You know what I mean? So, like, the society is constantly deeming that we are just this dramatic ball of mess and we can't handle ourselves.
Right.
But yet we are in here in these fucking trenches handling, you know, deaths of babies, abuse cases. You're talking homicides. You're talking suicides. You're talking young children. You know, you're talking all of these things. Mm-hmm. Yet we, primarily the women, especially in our current location, are in there just really manning it up, going in and just being like, we're going to handle this today.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we do that for not just one day, because it's not just one crazy day. Yeah. It could be 2 crazy weeks. It could be all sorts of shit.
It could be a crazy month.
It could be a whole crazy month. And we have those in the summertime, believe it or not. Summer is wild.
It's normally holidays.
Yeah.
The start of the year because of the holiday. Mm-hmm. And then the end of the year gets real crazy because of the holiday.
Yeah.
And then summer, just people are like just kind of out and about doing all types of wild shit.
Ra-ta-ta-ta.
Yeah, it's real crazy
all the time.
So it's I mean, you're right. You're right.
I mean, we handle that shit. So I feel like as women, we should be recognized for that. You know what I mean? That we are actually doing that. We are going and we're doing that work, because also most of the doctors are women too.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's not saying that men can't, because we have men that work with us and they do just fine. I wanted to say one last thing. So with the fact, because like you were saying about, you know, we should be kind of working together. I mean, this job is already so hard enough, and it's because, again, it is physically taxing, it is mentally taxing, it is emotionally taxing. So to have to deal with that in just the job duties of itself, on top of dealing with that from the people that you work with, like one of the main reasons I wanted to even do this to begin with is because I don't get customer complaints.
Facts.
I don't have to listen to nobody talk about
God,
I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
But I do have to still deal with people.
Yeah.
And that is what's always a little bit tricky.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what you're going to get with people.
Yeah.
And it could be, you could be as tight as you want to be. You could be people that don't even talk to each other. And in my particular situation, and we don't have beef or anything like that, but you might get comments.
Yeah.
Racial. You might get comments and you're just like, why would you even say that?
I have even been there for quite a few of them.
I mean, it's kind of surprising to me that it still happens. but it does still happen.
Yeah.
And it always cracks me. I remember one time, there was my hair hadn't been retwisted or whatever. Actually, yeah, it hadn't been retwisted. So, it look a little fuzzy.
Yeah.
So it just do.
It's gonna be so cute.
And then the rest of it does what it does.
Yeah.
And I remember being asked if it was my real hair.
Oh.
And I was like, I've been here for however many years. Why would you ask me that?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Because, just because it looks different. And I was like, it's not, like, retwisted. But I ain't do nothing different to it. It just grew out, girl.
Yeah.
Like, it was just a weird, but like stuff like that is just kind of interesting because you're just like, it's unnecessary.
I've heard that. I mean, I've heard some of the
unnecessary.
comments, and I'm just like side eye. Like, why would you think that was okay to even say or ask? Just if you have any question, this is just for the population. If you have any question, that you think could maybe even possibly maybe be a little bit racist, just a little bit.
But they don't. But that is the problem because that never occurs.
Yeah.
Because it's just an innocent question, and a lot of times that's what's kind of weird about it because a lot of times they don't even realize that it is racist or a little racial. Like they don't ever get that. So they'll say it and then they're just kind of like, what? I don't understand the problem.
No, I think sometimes they do because they backtrack.
Oh, some of them do.
Because they'd be like, oh, but wait, this is what I mean.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that particular, yes.
Yes.
But in some other situations, it's like, they don't even realize that they're doing it. And it's like,
yeah.
We talk about this a lot.
Yeah.
Black women are people.
Mm-hmm.
We are people. We do the same things that you do because we are people. Mm-hmm. We are human beings. We bleed. We shit. We piss. Just like everybody else. We hurt. We cry. We get angry. We laugh like everybody else.
Yep.
So to ask something as basic as something that you would do yourself to a black woman, like she could not possibly do the same shit, is wild.
Yeah.
It is wild.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to get off this because I want to go into the positive because,
Yeah.
Just if you're in a situation that you find ways to, I don't even know.
But that's what I was trying to say. Is like if you are, not even that you think it's racist, but if you are having to ask a question, which I think you put it beautifully, if you are having to ask a black woman a question or a black person a question about something that you are also capable of doing, go Google it. Don't ask the question. If you have to ask, how do you wash your hair? How do you scratch your scalp? How do you do this? How does this work? How does that work? What do you use oils? Do you use it? Just go Google it. You don't have to ask that to a particular person. If you want to talk about racially motivated issues and stuff like that, and you want to try to be more woke and you want to try to learn about how to be more woke, you don't have to go to a black person to ask that question. There's plenty of literature out there that you can read.
The internet is free.
The internet is free. I have PDFs I can send you. I have all sorts of shit. If you need some resources, let me know because I've got plenty of book recommendations I can give you. Hood Feminism, dope as fuck. I just want to say that real quick.
Yeah, I want to read that.
Hood Feminism, really, really great book. But don't ask a black woman or a black man or anybody who is not white what they do if you are also capable of doing it.
Yeah, it's
just
don't.
weird.
It's just weird. It's very weird.
It is weird.
Because it's like, if you can do it, why can't I do it?
Yeah, it is weird as shit. Like yeah.
Do you breathe? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Do you read?
Right. Do you read?
Yeah.
Do you know how to read? You got an education.
You have an education.
Impossible.
I will never forget the question about the green card. I will never forget the question about the green card.
I heard that and I was like, you've got to be fucking kidding me.
I
cuss a lot.
That's okay.
I cuss a lot.
That's okay. Me too. I've been saying it all the girl. Don't even apologize.
That it blew me when I heard that.
Look, you can tell I'm getting mad because I'm rocking.
But my thing is this: that's so funny about it. It's like you don't know the country that you're so proud of.
Yep.
You don't know what's involved in the country that you're so proud of.
Yep.
You don't know shit.
Yeah.
So you to make that comment is wild.
Yes.
Because you don't know shit. Why would you ask that?
About a green card.
For a place that is part.
To a person who is Puerto Rican, asking how they are here and if they have to renew their green card and how they got their green card. But it's just like, it's little shit like that is wild to me. That is just wild to me.
every day my mind is blown because something happens, and and sometimes people go, oh well, you might be like looking for this and looking for
No,
that.
that's just what it is.
And I'm like, I don't ever go looking for somebody to be racist.
No.
Ever. I don't ever, like, girl, I'm gonna get to that story in a second because it's funny. It's actually not funny at all, but it has nothing to do with anybody that we work with.
Yeah.
But nobody ever really goes looking for that. I'm not like desperately trying to find the hidden meaning that has to do with me being black.
Yeah.
In it, ever.
Yeah.
And I'm typically minding my black ass business.
Yeah.
Typically. Not trying to bother nobody. Not trying to
black
say
ass
black ass business. That's it. I'm minding it. I just want to do my fucking job and I want to go the fuck home. Like, that's it. Y'all don't pay me enough to care about shit else. Shit else.
That's facts.
So, it's just interesting. But I had a situation. I was at work, but I was not in work.
Yeah.
I was outside, again, minding my own black ass business.
Oh, this story. Yes, tell
crazy.
this story.
This is just a random story, but I was work adjacent, so
yeah.
And this guy's on his motorcycle. I mean, his bicycle. This white man. I have to say white man on his motorcycle.
Bicycle. It's okay.
And I have my back turned towards him, and I just hear him say the N-word, hard R.
Hard R.
Hard
Hard
R.
R.
And so I turn around because I'm like, I know the fuck you ain't talking to me. Not me.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here minding my business. What
Yeah.
would you say? So he gets off his bike, which already I'm like, I'm outside of work.
Yeah.
If I fight this man, I'm probably going to go to jail.
Yep.
Because he's white.
Yeah.
And I'm probably going to lose my job because he's white.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So I turn around and he's like, oh, I wasn't saying that to you. So now I'm really confused because it is just the two of us. There is no other people around.
Who are you talking to?
There's nothing. There's not animals around. There is nothing other than my black ass and his white ass. That's it. And so I'm just like, well, if you're not talking to me, what are you talking to?
Yeah.
On my bicycle. Sometimes I say that. I call all types of things the N-word. I'm just like, so then this man proceeds to tell me that that's not even offensive and that he has tons of black friends and black shirts and black socks and wrote with a black pencil and thinks about black things and grew up with a bunch of black people and all this other stuff. And I'm just looking at him like, first of all, you're not about to tell me about anything black. You're just not. There's nothing that you could tell me. There's nothing about your experience that you could tell me that we're just not going to relate. We're not going to see eye to eye on that. But he really did. I was blown away by that because it was just so random.
Yeah.
Like, why would you even think to say that? And why are you calling your bike that? Like, what are you doing?
But also, you know what you're saying is fucked up because because you are now talking to a total stranger, and explaining your reasoning behind using that word.
And explaining to me, this was what was like a little bit doubly offensive, explaining to me what the N-word meant and how it is no longer offensive and how he can say it and all to me. Yeah. And I'm like, well, I had my little winter color on. I was a little bit lighter, but I still,
I mean, you're not. It's clear.
It's very clear.
It's very clear.
So, I mean, even in my lightest, I'm still very much Negro.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was just like, sir, go away. Please go away. But I wanted to share that story because I thought it was funny. It wasn't funny, but it was just another situation where just being out in public, being in a place, and I was near my job, just taking a quick little break and still having to deal with some bullshit. And it's extremely frustrating. It's extremely hard because you have to deal with it in all spaces, in all aspects of life. Yeah. And it's like, it's not just work, it's other life too, which I won't even get into that because that's like a whole nother topic.
We can do a whole episode on that one.
We probably shouldn't. We probably should not, honestly.
Okay.
We can, but I'm gonna have to be reeled in a lot.
I'll be on my soapbox.
Girl, I'll stand on it. But you're going to have to be like, girl, okay, you're real angry.
I'll let you, let it out. This is like a vlog.
Girl. That's facts. But let's kind of shift, because I know we were a little bit negative and kind of harping on the things that were not the greatest about being in the field that we're in. Yeah. But what are some of the, what are one of the reasons? Like, I know why I feel how I feel about the job and why I wanted to do what I wanted to do. How is that for you? Like, what was your thought process and reasoning behind it? Like, how do you feel about it?
So when I was a vet tech, we had to deal with a lot of passing, pets. I actually surprisingly enjoyed being there to be able to comfort but also to be able to provide the science part behind it to explain, like, this is what happened to your pet. This is what it was, to give them closure, because you have a pet who dies unexpectedly and they're like, we don't know what happened, we did our best, they blame themselves and so on and so forth, and you let them know this is what they died of. It was just a natural cause. They had cancer, you didn't know. And it was just like, you could see the relief on their face. Granted, I don't like talking to people. I don't want to do that. I never want to do that. But I like the fact that in my own way, this is one of the reasons why I love this job so, so, so much, besides the science part. In my own way, because I am doing this work, I am providing some sort of solace or comfort or answer for a person.
Yep.
An answer for a person. So when my sister died, actually, that's kind of one of the main reasons. When my sister died, I didn't know why. I didn't know why. She had an autopsy done, but nobody really told me. They just told me she had lupus. Didn't know why she died. Her homegirl was 26. You are young. Young.
Yeah.
You should not have died that young.
Yeah.
So, for me not to know and go about life not knowing and not necessarily having that full answer was rough for me.
Yeah. Because
for me, I don't want to just be like, oh, she died of lupus. Well, okay, I did a whole crazy thing and like deep dived into, what lupus was and whatever. But I was like, I want to know specifically what happened. I actually ended up getting her autopsy report.
Oh, did you?
I have it.
Yeah, because you can do that.
Yeah, I have her autopsy report. My sister sent it to me, and I read that, and that gave me some closure. And the fact that there was a tech, or there was a doctor, or somebody performed that to be able to find that specific answer to give me closure that this is specifically what happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just like, I get to participate in that. Yeah. I get to help that. And when it comes to the violent ones and when it comes to like, the homicides and stuff like that, I get to be the one there to, witness the doctor and, give input when it's asked for, on what happened.
Right.
I'm the one elbows deep.
Yeah.
Being like, this went through here.
Yep.
And talking to the doctor about it, and the doctor being like, this went through here, and learning about those things.
Yeah.
I get to help.
Yeah.
And that answer will provide hopefully some closure for somebody.
Yeah. No, I feel the exact same. And a lot of times if I'm talking to people about, what I do, I let them know, like, this is my own, because you always hear, oh, I could never do that.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it's so funny because it's normally from people that, there's always from outside people, but it's sometimes from people in the medical field themselves.
Yes.
But they're like nurses and things like that. And I'm like, I couldn't do what you do.
Oh, 100%. Could never be a nurse.
Could not.
But if somebody shit on me, I would be pissed.
Or screamed at me or spit at me or slapped me or whatever. Because I'm trying to do my job at getting your blood or whatever. It would be a problem. But I say that to say that I tell them all the time, similar to what you, well, actually the same as what you say. I feel like in my own way, I am helping and I am providing that peace and comfort to those family members, because you do have times where it's sudden, or you have times that they're violent, or even if it's something of old age and it's natural. Yeah. It's sometimes comforting to know, like, hey, this didn't happen because they were abused, or this didn't happen because, whatever. This was a natural thing. They were however the fuck old, and, it happened from that. Yeah. And I think just same, like, it's the comfort that knowing that I help somebody in that way. I've always wanted to help somebody. I've always wanted to help people in a way without having to, like, be a cop or have to be, like a medical family doctor or anything like that. I always wanted to be able to do that, and for this, that is what it is for me. Yeah. And so it is very rewarding in that aspect of it, and that's also why I absolutely love this job. Yeah. It is a lot of hard stuff, and I know we complained a lot early in the first half of this episode. Yeah. But we love what we do. We
absolutely. But we said that in the beginning, because we love our job. Yeah.
And like we said, it's rewarding, it's fulfilling in its own way. And it's not the same for everybody. Obviously, people have their reasonings for doing it. Some people think it's just cool or whatever. But for us in particular, it's our own way of helping out in the ways that we can. Yeah. And I think that is what's so dope about it, and what's so beautiful about it, because it's just, there's a lot that you see, there's a lot that you learn.
Yeah, absolutely.
but it is very interesting.
I do want to say that I have met some very beautiful and badass women.
That's true.
Through working through this field.
Same. That's how I met you.
Beautiful. I know, right? Hey, bitch. Oh, that was a good one. I have met some beautiful, badass women. I have met women who have helped just out of the kindness of their heart.
Absolutely.
Who have just been there to support. Who are like, whatever you need, I'm there. I'll help you. On other level shit.
Yeah.
I mean, really beautiful, amazing women in this job.
Yeah. Who have like their own stories and their own lives that they've lived and they've had some crazy situations, and it's like it's really cool to see that you can meet these people and have these experiences. I mean, even so much as having some people that come in and view for however long that they're there for. I mean, some of those people have been extremely cool as well. And so it is really dope in that sense. I mean, it's such a small community. Even though it's all over the place, but it is fairly small.
Yeah, it is.
And to be able to make those connections kind of wherever you go is really dope. But
it is.
You're right. You meet I have met a lot of dope women.
A lot of beautiful women through this field. So,
absolutely.
So I'm very grateful for that.
Same.
But I hope at the end of the day, even though we were kind of like getting on our little angry soapbox about some shit, which honestly, rightfully so.
Yeah, we need
with
to
a
get
lot
that
of
off
what,
our chest,
with a lot of what we talked about.
Yeah.
I'm still very grateful for my job.
I am absolutely grateful for my job. Like, I love it. I love the work that we do. I want to continue to be able to help in any way that I can.
It's some bullshit sometimes, but
it is some bullshit sometimes, some literal shit sometimes.
But yeah, yeah, just not wrong there.
But it is such a. It's what I noticed too. It's very weird for me sometimes because if you're looking at the body, everybody's the same inside. Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, you might have some stuff that's stuck together, stuff that's not there, stuff that
everything looks pretty much the same.
But everything is the same, and it just kind of gives you appreciation for just people in general. Yeah. Not necessarily their personalities or attitudes. Yeah. But just a kind of a better appreciation of people, because we all are human. We operate the same. We have our organs the same. I don't care where you're from. Exactly. What your background is. Once you see inside, they're the exact same.
Literally the exact same. Blood looks the same. Everything looks the same.
Everything looks the same.
Some people's liver be looking a little wild, but that's all right. It's still in the same spot. Yeah. But yeah, we do love and we appreciate our job, and we are definitely, it is a tough field to work in though, and you do not get paid well. I'm just going to be very upfront. The pay is not great.
Something else I wanted to mention too, if you are considering getting into this field, they are not all called the same thing.
They are not.
Which I found out because I think certain places call them like autopsy technicians. Some places call them
postmortem.
So it really just depends. Also, if you're trying to get into this field, and you're looking for an office or a location, find out if you're going the tech route, what their techs do. Not all offices have techs that eviscerate, cut. No. You don't have, some areas have techs that take photos. Yeah. Some areas have techs that do toxicology. Yeah. Some areas have techs that do eviscerate, but they only do like maybe just the head, or actually they don't eviscerate at all. They maybe only do the head. And so just depending on like what locations you are in, look to see what they got going on. Yeah. Because if you want to do a certain thing and you go to a place that doesn't offer that, you may be unfulfilled.
Yeah. Yeah. Which, I mean, if you can get your foot in the door, great.
Right.
Love that. Also wanted to say eviscerating means to actually cut open the body and perform the autopsy.
Sorry, I'm just saying shit.
That's all right.
I'm just rolling with
it. That's why I'm here. But yeah, so eviscerating just means to actually do the autopsy and cut open the body. So that's what eviscerating means.
Yeah. So keep that in mind if this is something that you are interested in, to look into what offices have to offer. Yes. So that you can get whatever experience that you're looking to get. Yeah. If you're able to, if you're in school or if you're just out of school or just trying to find a way to get in. Yeah. Try to find places that allow you to either volunteer, which I know is hard, especially in this economy. Yeah. But if you can do a volunteer, if you can do an internship, if you can do a contract type of position, see if it's even something that you would be able to handle. Yeah. Because a lot of times people come in thinking that they're going to be able to do this job, and they pass out. And
which has happened.
And
a lot of times it's men.
A lot of times it's men. But it is.
It really is every time.
But you find out if you can actually handle it. You know, if you intern somewhere and you're like, yeah, this isn't going to work for me. This is a lot. Then, you know, it'd be good to find out before you put all that work in, whether you decide to be a medical examiner or a coroner or whatever you do. You don't want to put in that time only to find out that you can't even stomach it.
Exactly. Which is the reason why I did the internship in the first place. So if you can get in and you can do a volunteer like Deidre did, or get into an internship like I did, and do something so that you can test it out first before you put all your eggs in one basket. Because you might get in there and you might be like, oh, I can't handle the babies. Well, the babies come with it.
Yeah.
You know, or you might get in and you might be like, I can't handle
the smell.
You know, the smell, which there's can be a very bad one, or I mean most of the time they're just bad smells.
Yeah.
So, or weird, uncomfortable smells.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just, there's all sorts of stuff. So you want to make sure that you're able to do that before you know, hop in and spend all that time trying to get in there.
Yeah.
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 But ultimately, I love my job.
Same.
Don't like the politics, but I love my job.
Definitely don't like the politics.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah.
Oh, I do want to add something else.
Okay.
If you're interested in the forensics field in general, do some research. Mm-hmm. There are some amazing websites that you can go on that kind of like break it down for you as to what like areas do what. The part that we work in is nothing like TB.
Yeah, it's nothing like TB.
Want to be clear about that. We don't eat on the bodies. We are normal human beings.
Who eats on the bodies?
You see that on TV a lot, where they eat on the bodies or like around the bodies doing weird shit.
Oh yeah, no, that's
we
weird.
don't do that.
I mean, I do be walking around with a honey bun sometimes. But...
Yeah, but you're not like near the body.
Yeah.
And it's just funny. Like, I know a lot of people's ideas of the type of work that we do is that we're gonna be like kind of like you see Abby from what is that? NCIS and those it's not like that. We are all normal people. We are all a little bit weird. I'm not gonna lie. We are a little bit weird, but in like a
cool way.
Yeah, like in a cool way.
Like I think I'm cool.
Like a fun way.
Yeah. Yay.
Not like a serial killer type of way. So if you are interested in getting into those fields in any parts of it, just do your research on what you can find out. You may want to do this and don't know the name of it. You might want to do something that has to do with prints and don't know what that's called. Just do some research so you can find out what is what.
Absolutely.
And get into what you want to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, that's all I have to say.
Mm-hmm. And definitely research the pay. I just want to say research the pay. Research it.
Areas.
In all areas.
All areas.
The whole U.S.
Across the world, if you want.
Across the world, which is a possibility.
Yeah,
you can
do it everywhere.
In the UK, it's called postmortem technician.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
But anyways, thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate you. Definitely follow us on Instagram. We are on YouTube. Follow, share, and subscribe.
We're on TikTok for as long as TikTok exists.
Yes, facts, which is, TikTok is trash, but anyways. But definitely, if you guys can definitely help support and share to other people, share on your own social media page. If you follow us, we really appreciate that. And we appreciate the fact that you're still here listening.
Absolutely. And if you guys have any questions for us in regards to our field, feel free to ask.
Yeah.
We won't be able to answer everything. We will not answer everything.
But
if you have questions that we can't answer, we will definitely answer those for you.
For sure.
So, thanks again for tuning in,
guys.
Bye.
Bye.